वो रज़ा के नेज़े की मार है कि अदू के सीने में गार है। किसे चारा जो इकाबार है कि ये बार बार से पार है।
Continuing from yesterday, where I tried to explain the miracles bestowed upon the Anbiya Ikram alayhimus salatu wassalam, and how this was found at a greater level in Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. And if you remember, last night I mentioned to you about the waqi of Hazrat Sayyidina Zuhaib radiyallahu an, who was put into the fire by the false proclaimant of Nabuwat, Aswad, and he challenged the position of Hazrat Sayyidina Zuhaib, and when he threw him into the fire, nothing happened to him. So this was the manifestation of the mu'jiza of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it reminded of the incident of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, where that was a Nabi, and how Allah Ta'ala blessed him by His grace and mercy that mu'jiza was shown, that the fire became cold for him. And here this happened to a Ashiq Nabi, a follower and a devotee of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alaihi wasallam. Now, going to go a little bit further today on the same discussion. The discussion that we heard about Hazrat Zuhaib, there is another discussion, there is another narration on the same lines. I am going to present that to you, and it will further explain to you that the fazilat and the excellence of Nabi Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the maqam of the mu'ajazat which are bestowed upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now this narration has been reported by Ibn Asakir, and he reports that Aswad bin Qais, same Aswad, his full name was Aswad bin Qais, okay, he sent for a person called Abu Muslim al-Khawlani. He sent for somebody at the time when he was making his false claim of prophethood. He sent for a personality by the name of Abu Muslim al-Khawlani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And when Hazrat Abu Muslim al-Khawlani radiyallahu anhu presented himself and came, or rather came in front of him because he was summoned, when he came there, Aswad asked him one question. What did he ask? He said, Aswad asked Hazrat Abu Muslim radiyallahu anhu, what did he ask? He says to Abu Muslim, do you bear testimony that I am Allah's Rasul? What did he say? Do you bear testimony? Aswad is asking to Abu Muslim al-Khawlani radiyallahu anhu, do you bear testimony that I am Allah's Rasul? Subhanallah. What does Abu Muslim answer? Al-Khawlani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He says, he is asking him, do you bear testimony that I am Allah's Rasul? What does he answer? He says, I am deaf, I cannot hear. I cannot hear what you are saying. What he asks him? He asks him, do you bear testimony that I am Allah's Rasul? And Hazrat Sayyidina Abu Muslim al-Khawlani radiyallahu anhu, subhanallah, look at the strength of Iman. He says that I cannot hear, I am unable to hear. I can't hear you, I am deaf, I can't hear you. So Aswad turns around and asks Abu Muslim, do you bear testimony that Muhammad is Allah's Rasul? He said, yes, I do. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. You know, this is a situation where a person his life and death issue, he's compelled. He's under pressure. He's in front of a oppressor and a tyrant. And he's being asked a question like that. He says, I cannot hear you. I don't know what you are saying. And the exact same question is asked, but it is said, do you bear testimony that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Allah's Rasul? He says, yes, I do. So Aswad went into a rage. He went into a rage. What is this? And what does he do? He takes Hazrat Sayyidina Abu Muslim radiallahu ta'ala an, and he throws him into a huge fire. Makes a huge bonfire, a very big fire. And he commands that Hazrat Abu Muslim radiallahu must be thrown inside. When Abu Muslim radiallahu an is thrown inside, it is mentioned, Imam Ibn Asakir radiallahu anh mentions in this narration that he is reporting, when Abu Muslim, after giving that answer, when he was thrown into the fire, is thrown inside, the fire is raging, and Abu Muslim, not even one hair is burnt on his body. Not even a single hair has been burnt on his body. Walks out of the fire. No damage done. No harm done. So the people who were with Aswad, what did they do? They called him one side. And they said, you better banish him. Make him Shahar Badar. Take him out of the city. Take him out of this place. Because if he stays here, there will be dissent. He will cause your followers to turn against you. Because once they come to know that you've thrown him into a fire, and he's walked out like that, so the people are not going to believe what you are saying. They're going to go against you. So what you need to do is you need to banish him. Take him out from this place. So Aswad takes their advice, and he calls Abu Muslim al-Khawlani and he says, you are banished. You must now leave. So Abu Muslim al-Khawlani radiallahu ta'ala an leaves. He leaves, and when he leaves from Sana'a, which direction does he go? Madinatul Rasul. Says, you banished me from here. I am going to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's beloved city. So he journeys towards Madinatul Munawwara. Not like today, where you have the luxury of travel, where we have everything of the best. We have the most comfortable modes of transport today, and yet we complain. We always complain with the best that we have. When you go to Makkah and Medina, food for thought, off the topic. When you go to Makkah Mu'azzama and Madinatul Munawwara, and when you are traveling between Makkah Mu'azzama and Madinatul Munawwara, or Madinatul Munawwara and Makkah Mu'azzama, when you are traveling on the newly made highways today, you are able to see and look into the desert. Okay? And you look at those huge mountains and those hills and the landscape that you see. Has it ever come in your heart that today I am traveling in this lap of luxury on a freeway that is smooth, that I can't even feel my trip? And you look out into desert and you look at the mountains and you look at the hills, and you say, my Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam walked this path. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam walked this path. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam rode this path on a horse or a camel. The Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam walked from city to city in the burning heat of Arabia. And you start to think that with all that, these companions were so steadfast. They were so firm. The iman is so strong. And Allah has given us all the comforts today. But we are lazy to make shukr in the court of Allah. This is a sign of weakness of iman. What has happened to us? Those blessed servants, after going through so much difficulty, so much hardships, but they made so much shukr. They made sabr, and they made so much shukr. And we, on the other hand, with all the luxuries, we cannot make sabr and very little shukr. So when it's not part of my discussion, but something to think about when we look at this. That how did they travel? how much of taklif they had to bear. And Allah has made it so easy for us and we still complain. So we should learn to make less shikwa and more shukr. Complain less and thank Allah more. Because if you thank Allah for all the good that Allah has given you, you will not have time to complain for anything else. You will not have time to do it. Just make shukr for what Allah has given us. So going back, Hazrat Abu Muslim al-Khawlani radiallahu anh, he leaves Sana'a and he journeys towards Madinatul Munawwarah. After his lengthy journey, when he finally reaches Madinah Sharif, he reaches at a time when Sayyidul Alameen Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has already traveled into the Akhirat. He reaches when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has already passed from this physical world. Our Aqidah of Ahl Sunnah is not that Nabi mar ke mitti mein mil gaye, that Nabi is dead and gone and mixed in the sand, ma'adallahi rabbil alameen. Our Iman and Aqidah is that our Nabi is alive today also. Because everybody's life depends on the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is by hayat. The maut of the Anbiya, the passing of the Anbiya, it is just to fulfill a promise of Allah, that they will taste death momentarily and then their lives are given to them. It's a long discussion. If you got time, the kitab that we have just done, Sharh Sudur, if you read that, you will find a detailed explanation of the lives of the Anbiya Ikram alayhi salatu wasalam. Now, he comes to Madinah Sharif, and by then Aqaid Alam sallallahu alaihi wasallam has already passed from the physical world, and Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh is on the Masnad Khilafat. Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh is in the position of the Khalifa. It is mentioned that this personality, Hazrat Abu Muslim al-Khawlani radiallahu anh, when he reaches the holy city of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Khalifatul Muslimin, Hazrat Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anh sees him. On seeing him, Hazrat Abu Bakr says, Alhamdulillahi alladhi albathani hatta arani fi ummati Muhammadin man sana'a bihi kama sunya Ibrahim. He says, all praise is due to him. In other words, all praise is due to Allah, who kept me alive for this moment, that I may see that person for whom the fire became cold, like it became cold on Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Subhanallah, subhanallah, subhanallah. Look at what Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq makes shukr for. He is the Khalifatul Muslimin, but he is making shukr that I have got to see a personality like this. Somebody for whom the fire was made cold like it was made cold for Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. In other words, that Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh is testifying that what happened with Abu Muslim al-Khawlani radiallahu anh was the manifestation of the miracle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This was a mu'ajiza of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he announced the nubuwwat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the shahadat to the risala of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he testifies that that which was given to Ibrahim alayhi salam, given at a greater level to Muhammad Rasulullah, because it is now evident through his companions, through those who love him, those who are the Sahaba, the Tabi'in. You will find this in history on numerous occasions like this. So this alone, again, going back to our discussion about the miracles as they were bestowed upon Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Now if you go further, since we are talking about the Anbiya Ikram alayhi salatu wa salam, the scholars have mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam with a very, very special maqam. Very special. The station given to Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam is a very exalted station. And this is known as the maqam al-khilla, where Hazrat Ibrahim is Khalilullah. He is the Khalil, he is the friend. He is the close one of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this which was given to him was part of his miracle, that he was given this closeness in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the scholars say, yes, Ibrahim alayhi salam is the Khalil, there is no doubt. But Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the Habib. Muhammad Rasulullah is the Habib. He is the beloved. He is the most beloved in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And on the same discussion, they mention that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed Ibrahim alayhi salam with this courage, the miracle of courage and himmat. That Ibrahim alayhi salam was blessed with the special individuality amongst the people on earth. What was that? That with regards to his ibadat and destroying the idols, his ibadat was individual, unique in that time. And the incident of him breaking down the idols was unique in his time. But yet Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with a miracle much vaster, much more greater than that. That Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's ibadat is unique in every way. All the ibadat put together can't compare to the ibadat of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And on the day of Fateh Makkah, when Rasul Pak sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went into the Holy Kaaba, then Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had a stick in his hand, in his Mubarak hand. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would point to the idols, and the idols would fall down. The idols would fall down. And as they did this, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in a loud voice was saying, قُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَزَهَكَ الْبَاطِلِ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ ذَهُوكَ. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was saying in a loud voice and doing this with a stick, and the idols were falling onto the ground. 365 idols, some say 360, some say 365 idols fell onto the ground. Now, the scholars have mentioned that yes, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that haqq has come and batil has fled, as it is the command of the Holy Quran. قُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقُّ. Oh beloved, you say that haqq has come, وَزَهَقَ الْبَاطِلُ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُوكَ. That haqq has come, batil has fled, it has destroyed. Undoubtedly, that which is false, which is batil, was to be destroyed. It was to flee. Okay? Now, the scholars say that as Rasulullah said this, he pointed out to the idols inside the Kaaba, and the idols began to fall. Now, this was again the manifestation of the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is blessed with that miracle, which was blessed to Ibrahim alayhi salam, but at a greater level, just by using a chari, just by using a stick, right? They further explained something else. The scholars explain in the discussion of Mu'jizat, now something very interesting, that Allah had blessed Musa alayhi salam with the Mu'jizah of the Asa. He had the staff, the stick, remember? And when Musa alayhi salam would throw the Asa down, what would happen? It turned into a serpent, into a huge snake, right? Now, they say that, subhanallah, the scholars mention that this is a stick. The Asa of Musa alayhi salam is a stick, ne? In the hand of a Nabi. But because of the power of Mu'jizah that Allah has given the Nabi, when he throws it onto the ground, it becomes a snake. But it's not a real snake. It is a snake, it is in the form of a snake. That is through the Mu'jizah, through the miracle of the stick of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. So here they explain, now you got to understand this properly, that they are explaining this, and then they say that this is at a greater level in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Two ways. One, talking about a serpent, a snake, that when Abu Jahl intended to strike Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a rock, remember the waqia? He intended to strike Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a rock. What happened? He came and he froze. He froze, he couldn't do anything. And when he went back and he was asked, why did you freeze? Why didn't you do anything? You said you were going to crush him with a rock. You had the opportunity. He said, I saw from behind his shoulders 2 serpents came out. 2 serpents emerged from there, from behind him. And had I made one move, they would have swallowed me, they would have finished me. So that is the incident of the serpent being shown here as a miracle from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, without Huzur even doing anything. Without Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam even doing anything. And the other waqia that they explain is here the asa is thrown, it turns into a snake, a stick turns into a serpent, right? But that serpent is not physical. It is a spiritual being if you really look at it, okay? because it is through that mu'jiza of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. Now, the stick being turned into a serpent. And they say when you look at Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, then you look at a dry palm trunk. You look at a dry palm trunk, which Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to lean against while he used to deliver the khutbah, which is known as the Sutun Hanana. So they say here, a Nabi throws a stick, it turns into a serpent. And that too, not physically real. It is that which it turned into that through the blessing of that asa. And here there is a dead stump which Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to rest against. It is removed because of the construction of the pulp. It is removed, and while Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is on the mimbar delivering his sermon, the companions say that we heard the sound of somebody weeping, like how the baby of a camel weeps for the mother. And the sound of the weeping was echoing through Masjid al-Nabawi. It was echoing, the crying was echoing through Masjid al-Nabawi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And everybody looking around trying to figure out where the sound of crying is coming. Finally they managed to determine that that piece of the trunk that was the tree, that stump, just the stump of the date palm that was taken out, the sound was coming from that date palm. What happened? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, rahmatul lil alameen, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, came down, he descended from the mimbar, and he walked to the stump. And what did Aqaid Alam sallallahu alayhi wasallam do? He went and he embraced the stump. What did he do? He embraced it. He held it to his holy chest. And when he held it to his holy chest, like how somebody would try to give sukoon and tasalli to a baby, like that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam held the trunk, the tree stump, and it started to make that noise, like, you know, in sisakna, you know, when the child sobs, like a sobbing sound. Now it's calming down. And then after that it remains silent. The beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that if I had not embraced it, then Sutun Hanana would have cried until the day of Qiyamah. What was it crying for? It was crying from the separation of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a tree stump, crying in the love of Rasulullah, in the ishq. Here a stick is thrown, it turns to what the Nabi wished for it to turn to, by the grace of Allah. And here a trunk, a stump, that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says nothing to, but when it is removed, it is showing signs of life inside it. It is showing signs of ishq, that its love for Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is so deep that it begins to cry. In brief, the waqi of Sutun Hanana is lengthy, but in brief, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam goes and he embraces it, and he asks the tree, the stump, do you wish that you should be put back where you were taken from, where you were grown initially? Or do you wish that you should be put in the garden of Jannah, so that the water of Jannah may flow beneath you, and so that the beloveds of Allah may eat your fruit? What do you wish for? So the tree said, the stump spoke to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I wish to be in holy paradise. I wish to be in holy paradise. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what did he do? Huzur didn't say, okay, you will be in paradise. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't say, fine, you want to be in paradise, now I'm going to make dua, you must be in paradise. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, take him and put him under my mimbar. Take the stump and bury it under my mimbar. Why under the mimbar? Because Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the area between my hujra and my mimbar is a portion from the portion of Jannatul Firdaus. Is a garden, Rawdatum min Riyadil Jannah. It is a garden from amongst the garden of Jannah. So by Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, put it under the mimbar. In other words, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has already made it Dakhil al-Jannatul Firdaus. Okay? Now the scholars explain that was one piece of wood that used to be in the hand of a Nabi, Musa alayhi salam, and that was the power that was given to it. And this was the piece of wood, the piece of stump that used to just be there that Nabi just leaned against. Huzur leaned against. Look at the power of the miracle of Rasul there, that stump testifies to Rasulullah, shows love for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and gets to be Jannatul Firdaus, the fruits of which will be eaten by the beloveds of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they further explain that as a great miracle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Sutun Hana incident is actually a miracle of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alaihi wasallam, because they say that the great scholars have stated, and Huzur Muhaddis al-Kabeer mentioned something very nice. I made a note of what he says. He says, no Nabi was without a mu'jiza, but because our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the leader of all the Anbiya and the Imam of all the Anbiya, and the embodiment of the excellence, he has been blessed with every kind of mu'jiza, and he has been blessed with uniqueness in every such miracle. And he says, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam performed a great miracle when his asa turned into a huge snake. Hazrat Isa brought the dead back to life. These were not small or ordinary miracles. An ordinary person, Muhaddis Kabir says, an ordinary person cannot perform any one of these actions. Hazrat Isa alayhi salam brought the dead back to life, Hazrat says. But he says, my Nabi brought to life that which do not even have the slightest element or sign of life within it. He brought the completely dried up trunk of a tree to life, and he also blessed the trunk of the tree with Ishq Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he blessed it with a vigor of feeling and devotion. And if you want detail on this, you look at Bukhari Sharif volume 1, you will find the explanation of the Sutun. It is a very blessed discussion there. So Hudur Muhaddis Kabir's words again, he says, thus my Nabi is unique in his power of miracle. Every miracle is an individual miracle, but by Allah, he goes to discuss something. He says, Miraj is not just one miracle. We were talking about it last night, that's why I brought this point. Miraj is not just one miracle, but it is the comprehensiveness of numerous miracles. This is such a blessed miracle that we cannot decipher how many other miracles are gathered within it. We are talking about the mu'jizat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the last point to end, the scholars mentioned that Musa alayhi salam was given one other great miracle, the Yade Bayda, the light and the brightness of his hand. Musa alayhi salam used to do this, and when he take out his hand, the hand used to become nur, bright, very bright. So bright that the eye would not be able to bear the brightness that came out from the hand. That was the power of the hand that was given, the nur that was given in the hand of Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. So the scholars say Musa alayhi salam was given the miracle of Yad-e Bayda, the light in his blessed hands, which the eyes could not really bear to see. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was given the miracle of being nur from head to toe. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was given the miracle of being nur from head to toe, because in reality, Nur Muhammadi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is through which all these other Anbiya did whatever they did. And the scholars further explain that in the same discussion, subhanallah, they say that this Nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this Nur Muhammadi from the fountain of miracles, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam journeyed from the time of Adam alayhi salam. It journeyed in pure spines, generation to generation, until finally that Nur entered Hazrat Abdullah, the father of Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then was transferred into Bibi Amina radiyallahu ta'ala, the mother of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And whomsoever it entered, this Nur exalted them and granted them excellence in that era that nobody else had that kind of excellence. And you will see this in history if you go back and you follow the journey of the Nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In this, the scholars mention about the Nur, talking about the Yad-e Bayda, the Nur that was given in the hand, the power of the Nur in the hand of Hazrat Musa. They say that once it was a very dark and cloudy night. Very famous, mashhur hadith sharif. It was a very dark and cloudy night, and Hazrat Qatada bin Nu'man radiyallahu an performed Isha namaz with Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Subhanallah. How fortunate the Sahaba were, that they got to stand in namaz for so many times behind Imamul Anbiya, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Hazrat Qatada ibn Nu'man radiallahu anhu he prayed Isha behind Nabi Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was returning home. As he was about to leave, because it was a very cloudy night and it was a very dark night, and he didn't have anything to take to brighten his way, so he didn't have to say anything. He was about to leave, so Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam summoned him and gave him like a twig, like either a branch or a twig of a date tree, small one, in his hand, and said, take this with you. It will brighten your path 10 hands in front and 10 hands in the back. Take this with you. One piece of stick, a dry stick. He takes it. Now you must know the shan of the stick. There are hadith sharif that explain that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at times, when he held a dry twig, a dry branch, it became fresh and leaves would shoot out while they were still in the hand of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You understand? So he gives him that dry stem, the twig or the branch. He takes it. Hazrat Qatada bin Nu'man radiallahu anhu, and he goes. And as he walks, he finds that really 10 hands in front of me, 10 hands behind me, no, very bright. But before he left, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said something to him, that you take this, you will find this brightness ahead and brightness behind. But when you reach your house, you will find there's a black creature in your house. There's something black in your house. Something black will be there. And when you see it, you must take this which I gave you and beat it with it. You must take this branch or twig which I've given you, and you must beat that black creature and beat him till he leaves your house, because that is shaitan. So shaitan gets beaten by the Nur-e Muhammadi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, he can't bear the power of Nur-e Muhammadi. So he gives him this. So Hazrat Qatada ibn Nu'man takes the stick and he walks, finds the road is bright in the front. Bright, full nur, ala nur. And as he reaches his house, when he enters, he sees a black creature. As Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him. He takes that stick, that branch which Nabi gave him, and he beats him till he's out of the house. And he leaves. He says, I have no doubt that that was shaitan, as Nabi Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had mentioned. So again, one hand is the manifestation of the light in the hand of Musa alayhi salam, and here a twig, a little stick that is given by the hand of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That becomes Roshan so much that even shaitan is beaten with it. Understand the differences? And the maqam and the fazilat of the mu'jiza of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam compared to other Nabis, subhanallah, great miracles. But we are trying to make the point that they received this through Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alaihi wasallam. Inshallah, tomorrow night, Allah willing, I want to discuss the same issues relating to the other Anbiya and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Very long discussion. It's not going to finish in one night and 2 nights. Actually, I think what I'm trying to discuss, if we do the whole Ramadan, unfortunately 1 week of Ramadan I will not be. I will be out of the country. So 3 weeks inshallah I should be here. But if we try the whole 3 weeks, it won't even be 1/4 of the discussion that needs to be discussed. Not even 1/4 of the discussion that I'm trying to discuss with you. Okay? So tomorrow inshallah al-Azim we will discuss, we'll attempt to discuss the Anbiya Ikram, Hazrat Harun alayhi salam, Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, Hazrat Dawood alayhi salam, and Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam. These 4 prophets inshallah al-Azim we will try and discuss tomorrow. So Allah bless us with barakat in our time. And Allah bless you for giving your time to sit and listen to the words related to beloved Rasul and all the Anbiya Ikram alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa nabiyina Maulana Muhammadin wa ala ali sayyidina Maulana Muhammadin wa ashabihi wa barik sallim. Ya akram al-khalqi mali man aludhu bihi siwaka inda hulul hadith al-amami wa man taqum bi rasulillahi nusratuhu in talqahu al-uslu fi ajami hatajami. Sallallahu ta'ala ala nabiyina wa ali sallallahu alaihi wasallam bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.
वो रज़ा के नेज़े की मार है कि अदू के सीने में गार है, किसे चारा जो इकाबार है कि ये बार बार से पार